Hello, friends, and welcome to another video. This week, we're gonna be melting one of every Yankee Candle together into a single, giant franken-candle. If you can't handle the heat, then get out. In 1969, in South Hadley, Massachusetts, Michael Kittredge created his first scented candle, aptly named Christmas 1969, from melted crayons as a gift for his mother. And thus, the company that would come to be known as Yankee Candle was born. Over the following half-century, Yankee Candle would grow into one of the most famous candle companies in the world. Boasting over 260 stores in malls across 43 US states and one location in Canada, Yankee Candle is now the largest candle manufacturer in America, leading shoppers towards its doors with a scent trail nearly as visible as SpongeBob's bad breath. And as a prolific mall adult and candle lover, I am no stranger to Yankee Candle. As you guys know, I like any opportunity to pick things up and smell them, and I am also always impressed by Yankee Candle's inexplicable omniscience, because I always find that wherever I go, from the dentist's office to the bank to your mom's house, there is always a Yankee Candle there. And as some of you may know, I am also a prolific melter of things, having melted together everything from every lipstick from Sephora, to every soap from Lush, to every candle from Yankee Candle's nemesis, Bath & Body Works, in bad science experiments to see what the average or most marketable shade, flavor, or scent of those things would be. And given the sheer quantity of different iconic candle scents that Yankee has to offer, I figured it was time for me to get my grubby little hands on some. So in this video, I will be attempting to melt one of every Yankee Candle scent I can find into a franken-candle to create the most fragrant, most mega, Yankiest candle there ever was. But this time, instead of just one scoop's worth of wax, I wanted to think a little bigger. In fact, a lot bigger. And actually use all the wax from each candle to make a giant franken-candle. Maybe not the largest candle in the world, but it's gonna be pretty f***ing big. And even though we got the biggest container we could possibly find, we're still gonna have some extra wax. So we are gonna be doing a subscriber giveaway with some not-so-giant franken-candles. So if you're interested in getting one of these dudes, make sure you're subscribed, leave a comment down below, and I'll leave more instructions at the end of the video. But really quickly, before we dive in, I do want to mention that this video is sponsored by U2s, because we actually partnered with them to make a collectible mini Safiya figurine that's available now. I've always wanted a little mini-me, maybe one who can eat tiny food and live in a tiny house, and here she is. This mini Safiya U2s is themed around our Franken/bad makeup science series. As you can see, tiny Safiya has a blowtorch and a lipstick in hand, ready for some destruction, although there is a little nod to our questionable fashion series as well, with some pink platform Crocs. The box is also customized to be like a mad scientist Franken lab, with a boiling cauldron and some concoctions on the shelf, like our Franken candle, bath bomb, etc. So if you guys are interested in picking up a Safiya U2s, make sure you grab it on the U2's website ASAP, because they only do one drop of each figure, and once it's gone forever. So make sure to check her out. She's much less threatening in person, I promise. I mean, she's tiny. How much damage could she do? All right, so with that, let's get to frankening. What do you think, Tiny Safiya? Let's go. All right, so I'm outside the Yankee Candle store at the Crabtree Mall, and I'm about to go in there and buy one of every candle scent that they sell. It's about to go down. I'm about to put my wick on the table. Okay. So obviously our first step here was to acquire our Yankee Candles. And right off the bat, these candles were not to be messed with. Ooh, that's heavy already. One candle down. That's heavy. As most of these candles contained at least 20 ounces of wax, which when you considered that there were easily over 100 candles at this store, oh my god, to the register, boded well for the sheer size of our final giant candle. To the window, to the wall of candles.
Everyone knows Little John's affinity for Yankee Candle.
Including everything from the iconic holiday Yankee Candle scents, Lil Jon. For a second, I thought you were meant like John, like the apostle. I was like,
him
Lil
too.
Jon.
He loves Yankee Candle.
To the classic desserty scents, chocolate chip cannoli, hello, Buddy Vlastro. Take Me Now, to the super niche 2 Williamsburg scented candles, which as a Colonial Williamsburg fan, I was at first skeptical of. Do you think it smells like the pineapple at Colonial Williamsburg? But they kind of nailed it. Actually, maybe. It's got a powdery vibe. And once you've exhausted the normal scented object candles, Yankee Candle whips out their theoretical scents, as some of their candles are less actual odors and are more like feelings. Because like balsam and cedar, a scent. Singing carols, a vibe. An idea, a concept. And they're able to really pad out their numbers this way. Twilight Tunes, that's a vibe. It's like the Utah Jazz, you know what I mean? It's a vibe, right? Yankee Candle does offer their scents in a number of different jar types, and though these are the classic iconic shape, and some scents do only come in this shape, these guys were gonna be a lot harder to remove the wax from. So we grabbed the straight up and down tumbler size whenever we could.
This is really giving it to my thighs, I have to be honest.
We were in like a perpetual Gollum stance.
My loins are burning. I have a burning loin right now, actually 2.
Yankee Candle does also offer a couple of small collections of sister brands at their stores, like Wick Candles and Chesapeake Bay Candles, which we decided to pass on since they weren't technically Yankee, and we already had plenty of candles to work with.
I feel like I'm getting stronger. Is that how that works? Immediate gains?
But regardless, after a lot of lifting and shuttling, it was time to check out, which miraculously, Tori and the Crabtree Yankee team had a seriously efficient method for.
Thank you. Oh my god.
Yes, we did warn them we were coming, but I was still pretty impressed.
Yankee Candle is letting me use their carts to take our candles to the car. This is trip 1 of 3, maybe 4.
And after taking inventory of our haul, we ended up with 173 unique Yankee Candle scents from our shopping trip, which we then supplemented with 49 extra candles that we found on the Yankee Candle website and Amazon, and one very expensive 2023 Scent of the Year candle from eBay, which brought our total candle count to 223, which may not be every Yankee Candle out there, but it's gotta be pretty damn close. So with our giant haul acquired, the next question we needed to answer was, how the heck were we gonna do this? And to answer that question, we recruited the help of our friends, YouTubers Evan and Katelyn, who run a crafting and DIY channel and notably have a lot of experience using and building custom gadgets and machinery, as well as some experience with candles.
It's 40 pounds of wax.
Oh my god. And it's
1,000 wicks.
They also just posted a video on their channel about creating a giant candle jar for this project, so make sure to check out that video after this one.
Oh my god!
It's a little intimidating.
The wicks threw me off for a second. I was like, ah!
Now for the first part of the equation, which was to remove all of the candle wax from each and every jar, we did consider a few methods. One was freezing the candles, one was to somehow double boil the candles in a huge pot of water, but the simplest, fastest, and best method we found was actually just putting the candles in the oven and waiting until the wax was melted enough to pour, slide, or be coaxed out of the jar. So that's what we decided to do. Besides that, we also obviously needed a huge pot that would be able to hold and at the end melt all of the wax we were gonna harvest, and found a giant 50-gallon pot that's usually used for beer brewing that already had a drain and spigot to pour our wax out of, as well as a false bottom we could add that's meant to strain out different ingredients in beer making, but for our purposes could catch any wicks that managed to make it into the pot. And we put this entire contraption on a scissor lift so that we could raise it high enough to be able to pour our melted wax out of our enormous beer brewing pot and into our custom Evan and Katelyn giant candle jar. So with all of that, I think it's melting time. Enter Evan and Katelyn, enter our giant pot, and enter 6 ovens.
All right, so Evan and Katelyn are here. Well, they've been here for a little while building stuff, but they're here now in frame with me, and it's time
To melt the candles.
to melt.
Finally.
It's time to melt. I actually lifted this and I was like, this is a gong.
Yeah. It's time.
That's pretty official.
Yeah, that was good.
Now, as usual, we separated our 223 candles into 11 different scent categories, based on names, vibes, and the scent notes listed for each candle on the Yankee Candle website. And our first category, into the ovens, was going to be our 27 food-scented candles.
Shall we?
Yeah.
Everyone grab a candle.
Now, besides just making sure the wax was melted enough to pour out of the jars,
It's interesting to see like the oven trays like bowing in the middle. He's trying hard, okay?
He's got a long day ahead of him.
my only concern with this method was that I didn't want to blast or burn off too much of the scent from the candles. And it turns out that the temperature that candles really start to throw their scent at is when the wax is at around 200 degrees Fahrenheit.
I got Evan's filming with like some heat camera, like he's the predator.
This is totally predator vision.
So we figured that if we kept our ovens and our Yankees safely in between the melting temperature of the wax and the scenting temperature of candles in general, we could liquefy without losing too much fragrance.
I mean, they look pretty melted.
They're getting pretty jiggly in there.
Which meant to be safe, we would try and hover between 140 and 180 degrees.
What I am happy about is that it's not too stinky.
Yeah.
So that means that some scent is being retained, hopefully.
And after waiting about 30 minutes, I would say we were ready to start extracting some wax.
I think we're ready.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Can I dong it again?
Yeah.
Okay. The bell tolls.
Ask not for whom the pot top tolls, okay? And we started off with pouring out our Macintosh candle. It's very liquid.
It's very full.
Oh, here we go. Coming around, coming around.
Whoa!
Oh, we picked a violent one to start with.
God.
That is a murder scene.
With Katelyn on tong duty, ready to yank out our core of unmelted wax.
Well,
There you go.
Wow.
That's candle number 1. Now, the 27 food candles did have somewhat of a variety of scents, but a lot of them were some kind of fruity, like this uncooperative melon here. The ship's too big and the bottle's too small.
Yeah. Ooh, that
go.
noise.
Yep.
With a fair amount of citrus, berry, some tropical fruits like our Williamsburg pineapple, and a surprising dash of apple fragrance notes.
Whoa. That was like a water slide, a wax water slide.
Which, when you think about it, might not be all that surprising because it's kind of like a Yankee vibe, like as American as apple pie.
Oh yeah, just take the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
there you go.
Grabbing life by the wax right there.
I will also tip my hat to Yankee Candle for trying out some savory scents, like salsa, cilantro, and chutney, and also dabbling in the dairy, like with this very firm buttercream.
Double
Oh, it's
tong.
squishing. It's squishing.
It is kind of squishy.
Okay.
Two tong, too furious.
There was also a very strong pancakey candle, freshly tapped maple,
Oh, I hate this one.
which did remind me of the blueberry maple pancake that went into our Franken Bath & Body Works candle early and ended up eclipsing all the other scents.
I don't know if it's like the buttery vibe of it.
Yeah, it kind of smells like popcorn. Yeah.
It's the fake butter. It's a little gross.
Like a popcorn jelly belly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here's to hoping freshly tapped maple gets buried as we go.
I want to brace myself.
You need someone to hold your hair.
Yeah, can you hold my hair back? The thing is, like, there are so many fruit flavors in here, but I feel like it's really dominated by the pancake and the buttercream.
Damn it.
At this point, it was not looking good.
I am smelling a hopeful pang of pineapple.
There is a pang.
There is a hopeful twinge of pineapple.
But we still had a fair amount of candles to go. So next up, we had the 11 drinks candles and the 16 sweet treats candles. And these two categories actually shared a lot of scent notes in common. There were a lot of sweet notes across the board, like vanillas, chocolates, and sugars, and spicy notes with cinnamon, ciders, and sangrias. If a little more citrus in the drinks category from the lemonades and limeades. And we also, to spice things up, added a GoPro to our vat,
Oh, you punched it.
which very quickly fell in combat to the black tea and lemon candle.
One and done.
GoPro.
Unintentional.
GoPro's out.
Now, overall, both of these categories sounded to me like they could be very offensive smelling, but Yankee really showed some restraint here.
Oh yeah.
That one really splashed high.
saw
That went
the
above
splash.
the bucket.
I saw a splash.
As there were a fair amount of alcoholic candles in the drinks category that I was worried could be really boozy,
Will he launch himself? Oh, he did.
but the fragrances were actually sort of subdued. Like the plum sake wasn't really a sake bomb.
Oh!
I love that pluck sound.
The marshmallow eggnog smelled just like sweet Play-Doh, and there was not a lot of gin in the gin fizz.
Yeah, that's a good stab. That's a
okay.
good stab. That's a good stab.
Good stab, Caitlin.
Thank you.
Which I wonder if that may also be some kind of Yankee vibe, like hearkening back to America's puritanical roots.
Ooh, new stabbing technique unlocked.
Evan's in the zone.
Okay.
Hold on. Let him cook.
I mean, you got some of it.
And with names like Bunny Vanilla Cupcake, Iced Banana Pop, and Warm Pineapple Upside Down Cake, I was similarly pretty terrified of the sweet treats category, as I usually find candles like that super overpowering smelling.
Are you tempted at all to like stand in that and squish it with your feet like a wine?
It does kind of look like whiny grapes.
But they were actually mostly pretty pleasant and subtle.
Try to recreate Grape Lady. Is that your dream right now? Is to recreate Grape Lady?
She died as she lived, in melted wax.
The only downside of these scents being more tame was that they allowed the pancake smell to reign supreme in the vat.
I don't want to say it.
I don't want to say it. The pancake's still haunting. All I smell is the maple syrup.
Until we met chocolate layer cake.
This is horrible.
Yeah.
I can smell it from here.
It's Tootsie-ish. It's even Tootsier melted.
Which was the only sweet treats candle that I would say was truly offensive.
Well, the Tootsies are kind of like chocolate wax, and this is chocolate wax.
Yeah.
And though it did help us finally cover up the freshly tapped maple, it might have been an out of the frying pan and into the fire type situation.
I wouldn't buy it yet.
Don't even.
But you will subscribe.
I will subscribe.
Would you subscribe in order to get one? You would.
I would.
I guess now we're gonna have to cover up that. So next up we had our 27 aromatherapy candles, most of which were dominated by floral notes like lavender, rose, and jasmine, as well as some woody and citrus notes.
Oh, he's coming.
He's coming.
Bye. We actually are gonna need ponchos.
Yeah, we really are.
And also most of which were part of this specific like therapeutic collection that were all kind of square
Look at those YouTube shorts.
Yeah, these are Yankee Candle shorts.
and really went ham with the adjectives, like purposeful cedarwood and orange blossom, revitalizing ginger and lemon, optimistic lotus blossom and aloe.
I might need a little
Yeah.
Caitlyn action.
Caitlyn,
I'm here.
Grill Master.
Grill Master! Tong me, Grill Master!
Hats off to the naming department at Yankee Candle for really scouring thesaurus.com.
Oh, yeah. Oh my god.
That's a big pull.
Flesh block. A flesh block.
And though this category did smell pretty good,
Let me try not to pour it on your face.
Don't get splashed in the face.
You saw what happened to the GoPro.
That's true. I'll raise up a few inches.
it was unclear if any of these candles were really going to be strong enough to make it through to the end.
We're living in a post-CC world, a post-chocolate cake world, right?
Yeah, right.
Now, our 18 in the garden candles were obviously very floral, hitting pretty much every flower you can think of, with a bit of a leafy, mossy, grassy vibe as well, plus one hot gnome.
I wasn't expecting erotic gnomes from Yankee Candle, but you know, just when you think you know what you're dealing with, they hit you with the erotic gnome.
And I was expecting these scents to be on the more subtle, delicate side as well,
Nice.
Oh my
Big
god.
splash.
but these were a lot more intense smelling than I anticipated. Like fresh cut roses packed a punch.
Ooh, it's subtle. Wait,
Yeah.
no, it's not subtle anymore. It was subtle for a second.
It was subtle, and then I smelled it.
And not only were the floral scents heavy,
Maybe a little gentle Grill Master action. Caress me gently.
but the candles themselves were making quite a splash.
Oh no,
Did you
did I get you?
Did it get you?
It's okay, I think I'm okay. I survived. Caitlyn tried to kill me.
As I began a sort of Madame Tussauds transformation in the background.
Nose wax.
In the hair, too?
The end point of this video is I am become candle. That's what I would like to do.
So though floral scents rarely went out in Franken experiments,
Here we have Edelweiss entering the building.
Go for it.
Hot Captain Von Trapp vibes intensify.
maybe these bad boys had a chance.
POV, you are the Grill Master.
Speaking of bad boys, next up were the 17 beach candles,
Should we go to the beach? Beach? Let's go.
which I expected would all lean more like ocean spray, watery, Hollister type scents,
Should we have a drink clink?
Yes.
but a lot either smelled just like pineapples and coconuts,
No, I'm not spilling. You're spilling.
I am spilling though is the thing.
or interestingly, they were like musky, duty, old spicy kind of smells.
Whiskey-ish.
Yeah.
That's what it smells like.
Though I guess there was an Old Spice commercial on the beach one time. But regardless, we were amassing some serious volume in our pot.
Yeah, I feel like we are maybe a foot deep.
We got a foot of wax going, guys.
Which was a little more in line with the deep blue sea theme.
Yeah, it's giving lagoon. It's a loch.
Looks like ocean, smells like dude.
With a hint of hot gnome.
I'm getting some hot gnome.
Yeah.
It's a little hot gnome.
Now, after a quick break, during which our beach category cooled into a bizarre skin,
Oh my god, it looks like a waterbed.
Gonna spank it.
Oh my god, no,
Really?
not Yankee Daddy.
Yankee Daddy.
we moved into our two more theoretical categories, starting with our 19 scene settings and destinations candles, which were all about ideas of either journeying to or experiencing a place or event, like art in the park, over the river, or cliffside sunrise.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about. Woodland road trip, you know.
I'm picking up what you're handing to me.
And then our 13 abstract candles were grouped together because they were even more obscure, like intangible feelings or philosophical ideas, like Summer Wish, Life's a Breeze, and Love is Love.
Oh, and then also all of our laundry ones are in here too.
So ideas and laundry.
Yeah.
Now, because these candles are tied together more based on the fact that they are conceptual, the fragrance notes and scents aren't necessarily that similar.
Oh, weird. Weird.
Oh!
I think he pierced.
Scene settings and destinations was overwhelmingly floral, woody, and leafy,
Oh,
Watch the patty, watch the patty.
Grill Master.
which makes sense.
Thank you, Grill Master.
Anytime.
There's a lot of parks and walks, some showers,
Oh my god. She did kerplunk.
and then the fragrance notes of the abstract category were technically overall floral, woody, and citrusy. But I noticed a lot of them smelled kind of powdery, like with the 2023 scent of the year, Wonder.
Wonder, the scent of the year.
It's okay. Grilly,
Yep.
grill master.
Grilly girly.
And there were a few breezy and watery notes as well, like with Clean Cotton and Twilight Tunes. This is the scent of a killer, Bella. Ooh,
Oh, Hermes Day.
Renesmee. I like how you don't even know her name. What did you say?
Hermes Day.
Close, close. Which makes sense since they are like cleaning products and clouds.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get splashed? Are you kind of waxy right now?
I'm waxy.
I mean, overall, it's a pretty ingenious way to sell more candles. When you've exhausted the physical, you can enter the metaphysical. So we were nearing the finish line here, people, with our biggest category yet still to go, our 32 autumn candles. Now this category was kind of like a masterclass in marketing.
Surprise! It's pumpkin.
Because I have to imagine that, kind of like how Mariah Carey's Google Trends search spikes the day after Halloween, at midnight on August 31st, Yankee Candle emerges from its slumber.
Little twist.
Oh! Are you okay?
Yeah.
All right. We're good. We're good.
We're good.
Just
We're
scared.
good.
We're good. And not only was this a huge category, besides a smattering of Halloween-specific candles, nearly every candle was some variation on apple or pumpkin, like crisp campfire apples, honey crisp apple cider, spiced apple and maple, apple pumpkin, blood orange pumpkin, pumpkin maple creme caramel, and moonbeams on pumpkins.
Can you smell your tongs?
Yeah.
Pumpkin-y?
Very.
Yeah, they all smell like that. I don't think Katelyn likes cinnamon.
Oh,
It's
no.
all over, yeah.
And similar to how a pumpkin spice latte doesn't contain any actual pumpkin flavor, though there were some pumpkin and apple fragrance notes, the vast majority of notes in this category were spicy cinnamons, nutmegs and cloves, sweet vanillas and caramels, woody cedars, and musky patchoulis. So the apples and pumpkins are really just there as window dressing.
A golden shower from Golden Autumn. Tyler, time for your line.
What?
Time for your line.
I love golden showers.
Thank you.
But I'm not sure it really matters, because they know they can probably sell anything to a Yankee Candle customer on September 1st, myself included.
Oh my god. Oh my god, just let him go.
It's tragic.
Let it cook.
Farewell, autumn nature walk.
Good night, sweet prince.
Okay, so with that, I think it's time for winter. So to finish off our candle categories, we had our 17 winter candles and our 26 Christmas candles.
Thank you.
Boop. Oh, he sunk.
Goodbye.
And our winter category was pretty much just a smack of tree, as the vast majority of the scent notes in this category were woody, with sandalwood, cedarwood, pine, balsam, and evergreen being present in 13 out of 17 candles.
Grilly.
Oh, yep.
Thank you.
There we go.
Oh.
There was also a dash of sweet vanilla and a fair amount of cold and refreshing mint in this category.
Let me just get you, Jack.
Thank you. I'll never let go, Jack. Bye.
Which makes sense. I mean, if you're thinking candles that are wintry but not Christmassy, it's pretty much just sparkling snowy woods.
I love it.
Yeah. This is one of the best so far.
Yeah, so piney.
Hint of mint.
And it's not aggressive.
No.
No,
It
it's
doesn't
subtle.
hurt.
Yeah.
I bet you it's really strong. We're like, it's subtle.
Now, the holiday season is also clearly a prime time for Yankee Candle, as evidenced by just how many Christmas candles there are. I mean, everyone loves a good Christmassy candle, as do I.
Yesterday I liked magical bright lights, but I can't smell it at all anymore. But I did like it at one point.
I get nothing. Maybe the reason you liked it is because it was subtle,
But now it's gone.
Though it seemed like at this point, enjoying them was no longer on the menu.
That's so weird. It's literally nothing.
I've forgotten the taste of butter, Sam.
But unlike with the autumn candles, which kind of converged to very similar smells and themes, there was some variety within the holiday candles.
All right, here's White Christmas. Thank you. Take my little buble.
Like there was some sweet Christmassy cookies, some fruity holiday drinks, some spicy zests, and some balsamy wreaths.
This is it, people. It's our final three.
So while I was critical of autumn, I will give Yankee its flowers for Christmas.
Final bulb.
Nice!
Huzzah!
Now that's what I call a franken. I like how everyone had to high five the glove.
So with all of our individual Yankee Candle scents now in the vat, that was pretty much step one done. We did give our kettle a final intermittent sniff,
I don't hate it.
It's not the worst.
You hit it.
which didn't actually mean much since we were definitely losing our sense of smell at this point, and also because we were pretty much just smelling winter and Christmas at the top. To really get our final Franken-Yankee scent and color, we were gonna have to melt and mix the entire contents of the pot together.
But we're gonna do that tomorrow because we're tired. So we'll see you later. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Evan literally ran. All right. So it's the next day. We are rested and somewhat recovered. We're also wearing matching fits because it's time to turn up the heat, baby. Now, melting a giant hunk of wax is a unique dilemma, especially since our wax was now a solid block in our pot. Oh. Wow.
That was solid.
That is solid wax in there.
And as you guys had seen during our candle pouring, at this point the wax in our pot was almost like a layered wax trifle. So in order to get a fully combined Franken-Yankee mixture, we were gonna have to liquefy every last bit of wax inside our vat in order to make sure that no flavor got left behind.
Yeah, we had to bust out the Fieri fits for this. Good thing we had a third one, because I didn't know we had a third one, but we did.
But we did have a plan, which was to use these warming bands that Evan and Katelyn had fastened to the outside of the pot, which we turned on and then let cook.
Top is 180 now. It's going up rapidly.
We arguably should have melted the mixture back together while the wax was still warm from pouring the night before, but we passed out, so this was a situation we had put ourselves in. And though after a little while, we did start to see some visible melting.
A little juicy.
here.
Ooh, boop, boop.
Here's Juicy. It's Juicy over here.
It's juicing.
Now we're cooking.
If we just left the warming bands to do all the work, it would probably have taken hours to melt this entire block, especially since we couldn't just blast the heat for fear of losing all the scent we had so carefully tried to preserve. So the second part of our plan was to use this giant spatula that Evan and Katelyn had brought for me.
Here's my giant spatula, the best present I've ever received. Let's go.
To help the bands along by slicing and dicing the wax inside the vat to break it up into smaller, more meltable chunks.
This is the sword in the stone. It's the spatula in the Yankee Candle wax.
And because this thing was so massive, our plan of attack was to make some strategic stabs in the middle of our block,
Yeah.
Look at that red.
Yeah, we're hitting new colors.
and then let hot liquid wax pour inside of it to weaken it from within.
Don't mind me. I'm just
squelching wax.
rowing my boat. Merrily down the stream.
Which then let us start to really break off some chunks from the hunk.
This is hard mode.
Whoa! Whoa!
We split it.
And after we had done a fair amount of chopping, and all of our wax pieces were under the surface of the melted wax,
Oh, yeah.
Farewell, chunk. Can you go under, please?
I said farewell.
I said good day, sir.
we figured that the heat bands would be able to take care of the rest.
You look ready for battle.
I feel like a Spartan right now. Truly. Either come back with your shield or on it.
And after a little while, we would come back to a fully melted pot. Oh, how wrong we were. Now, though we were at this point what I would call fairly melted,
Oh. Yeah, it's not completely liquid. It's a little chunky in the middle.
based on the temperature of the wax and the heating bands, we should have been pretty much ready to pour.
Come to me. Sing to me, Paolo.
So we were a little confused as to why it was still so chunky in there.
Oh my god, what is this? Giant sticks?
You know, supplies from earlier.
Just some sticks. Just some really big sticks.
And after Evan and Katelyn rushed in to try and help mash the wax into submission,
What is happening right now?
What do you mean?
It looks like the end of Lord of the Flies.
I feel like we're gonna summon something.
we discovered what we thought was the real culprit here, these goddamn wicks,
Oh!
which we suspected were binding together large chunks of wax and preventing them from melting.
Oh, actually, I wonder if the things I'm feeling like resistance from are wicks.
It's a Wick King.
Yeah, exactly, like a rat king, but it's wicks.
So in an attempt to fish out as many wicks as we could, we came up with a very deranged plan.
We're feeling wax, but we can't pull any more up, like from the depths at all.
Yeah.
So something we were thinking was maybe we could just strap Evan in to a heat-resistant glove and garbage bag combo and have him grab down there and see what's up.
Just normal things.
You need some duct tape?
Yeah, we're making a mitten out of the trash bag.
Trash
Okay.
bin.
In my defense, he volunteered.
And pretty much immediately, he started to come up with handful after handful of wick.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the mother load.
I think this is the king.
So this felt like quite the ingenious solution.
Why does Evan seem like the Winter Soldier right now? Order the Winter Soldier from Wish.
This is what I got.
This is Winter Soldier at home.
At least as long as Evan could withstand the heat.
How are you temperature-wise?
Up to my glove, it's fine.
Is it getting a little hot over
It's
here?
getting a little warm there, but it's fine.
Let us know.
Yeah.
This is not worth losing the arm.
And I have to be honest, Evan is pretty hardcore because I tried going into the vat with the trash bag arm a little later,
Why is this fashion to me?
It really
It
is,
is fashion.
though.
and it was pretty freaking hot in there.
Oh. This is kind of hot, Evan.
Yeah, it's hot.
But at some point, after a fair amount of groping around at the bottom of our pot, Evan wasn't able to get anything more up.
I feel like I'm milking a cow.
Oh my God.
Blur that.
3 squeezes and I will drain you.
And I wasn't able to feel anything else at the bottom either. So we figured we must have gotten everything up and we were ready to pour.
Don't quote me on that.
Who else are we supposed to quote?
But when we turned our spigot on, nothing would come out. And after investigating it further, by shoving a variety of things up the nozzle,
But that looks solid though.
That looks solid, yeah.
like you almost like carved it out of what's inside.
Yeah.
we kept extracting solid wax. So we hypothesized that there must have been a layer of unmelted wax underneath the false bottom that we just couldn't get to that was clogging the spigot. And that the heating bands weren't able to melt because the scissor lift that our pot was placed on was actually acting as a heat sink and directing heat away from that bottom layer of wax. So, unexpected thermodynamics lesson.
We're losing heat into this.
So we decided we were gonna need to get the false bottom out to get that wax up. And for that, we were gonna need some more tools.
That looks open.
So we 3 Fieris took a late night trip to Walmart.
I really think the matching shirts have added a lot to the
Oh, yeah.
experience.
Bonding. You know.
Kept us in good spirits.
Yeah.
Just to pick up a few utensils that we thought could be useful.
I like that.
What do you have in mind?
The vibes are good.
Like that giant corkscrew, a crowbar, a siphon, and what would end up being the key, some microfiber towels for extra insulation. So we could spend more time in the vat with our trash arms.
Can we get Diet Coke?
Yeah.
You said we could.
Let's do it. Thank you, Walmart.
As after we got back to our vat and the corkscrew immediately flopped,
Oh my God. Just drop it.
we decided that the best thing to do would be to turn Evan completely trash baggian
What's the robot dance?
I think you're doing it.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
and send him back into the wax.
Half man, half trash bag.
I'm the trash man.
And miraculously, he was able to fish out the false bottom with ease.
Here it is.
Yes.
Troublemaker.
And confirmed, there was a lot of stuff under there.
I found it. Oh. Oh, look at that. Look at the inside.
It's not
Look at
melted
the
at
inside.
all. That's room temperature. That is room temperature on the inside.
As we were able to extract armful after armful of these slabs of very dry, very cool, almost petrified wax.
I have a huge.
Oh!
That's what was clogging up our nozzle.
Oh my God.
Giant tongue.
No, not the curl.
And just because there was so much of this stuff and it was so thick,
This is the other half. Yes.
we decided that to really make sure they were liquid once and for all, we should probably put them back into the ovens.
So the ovens are coming back in.
Okay.
We just need one oven. And I'm coming with that oven.
Now, despite this being a very long video, that was a pretty quick summary of what went wrong in our melting process. But in real life, we had been melting for about 9 hours, so we were certainly curious as to what it was that had derailed us so completely.
It looks like barbecue ribs.
You want some?
And after further inspection, I actually think this weird slab stuff was the original food category
Smells kind of fruity to me,
Honestly, they do kind of smell fruity.
right?
that went into the pot first, drained under the false bottom, rehardened, and then just never remelted.
I think that's pineapple.
Oh, it is the pineapple.
Yeah, this might be Williamsburg pineapple.
So I guess Williamsburg pineapple really screwed us.
I thought he was friend, but it turns out he was foe.
But regardless of who it was or where it came from, it was all liquid now.
Yes.
That is
Wow.
all liquefied.
That was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That was pretty crazy.
And we finally had a fully mixed franken concoction ready to pour. But where were we gonna put it? That's right, it's time for the giant Evan and Katelyn custom candle jar reveal.
Ta-da! One extremely large candle vessel.
Now, obviously part of the challenge of making a giant candle is that you need a giant candle jar.
You feeling good?
I'm feeling great. I'm running on fumes, adrenaline, Diet Coke,
And wax.
and wax.
And wax.
And wax, baby.
And we had a pretty hard time finding a candle vessel that would be big enough.
I love the wicks quivering. Like they're like giant, like guitar strings.
In anticipation.
For a while, we were considering getting a giant aquarium tank, but none of the options seemed like they would make it in time.
All right, I'll stand back here. You go ahead and twist that open.
So Evan and Katelyn put their engineering know-how to work to make us this beautiful monstrosity.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh, the liquid flows forth.
Oh,
That looks perfect.
And the specs on this bad boy is that it's about 4 feet tall and has a 14-inch diameter base and can hold around 25 gallons of candle wax, which in the end is gonna weigh around 230 pounds.
I'm verifying that the wax inside is 150 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, it's cool to the touch from the outside. I'm not seeing any leaking points. Everything is working.
And to burn all of that wax, Evan and Katelyn suspended 16 very long wicks in the inside of it, which they think would be about 4 weeks of continuous burn time if all lit at once, which is pretty damn good if you ask me.
Just hanging.
Just chilling by our giant
We
candle.
deserve this.
Yeah.
They actually have an entire video on their channel devoted to how they made this thing, including a lot of testing and a lot more predator vision heat cameraing. So if you're interested, make sure to check that video out as well. The link will be in the description below.
I can't believe it was those fucking weird slabs at the bottom.
At the bottom. We would have been on so much sooner. Instead, it's 1 a.m.
Is it actually?
It's 1 a.m., yeah.
But for our part, we were very grateful for this giant thing, and we had pretty much filled it to the brim.
Wow, you guys.
She's big.
And beautiful.
She's huge.
So after many twists and turns, here is a giant tube of molten wax, hereafter to be known as the Franken Yankee.
Like, this is taller than Rosanna Pansino. Like, this is a human-sized candle.
Yes.
This is my size Barbie.
But though magnificent, she obviously needed to cool and solidify before being totally done. So not to disturb her, we moved our vat a little to the left so we could pour out our remaining wax to make some extra Franken candles.
For you.
For you out there, this is all for you.
50 Franken candles for our subscriber giveaway, and a few more for family, friends, and posterity. Now, we had anticipated collecting 35 gallons of wax from our Yankee candles, but in the end, somehow, we ended up with a whopping 42 gallons of wax, which meant that we had an extra 7 gallons that we ended up just keeping. For what? I'm not sure, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. So with that, our vat was empty, and one dimly lit overnight time lapse later, it was the next morning, and our wax had hardened into a nice rosy terracotta color,
It looks beautiful.
Things are looking pretty good.
which I was pretty happy with because I feel like it could have been a lot worse. So with the end in sight, all we had left was a few finishing touches. One was that the wax had sunk in a little at the top,
And so there's a little bit of like, I didn't want to say nipple action, but then it came into my mind.
It's giving teats.
Yeah.
but it wasn't anything some of our extra wax couldn't handle.
Our old friend.
I can't believe we're still at oven. Welcome to my new channel, Evan and Katelyn.
And once our teats were appropriately covered,
Encase the nipple. Entomb the nipple. That's our motto.
we had to put on this beautiful vinyl sticker that Evan and Katelyn had made just for us,
Those hands are actually Evan's hands. Beautiful. Coated in trash bag.
which then brought us to the ceremonial moment of truth, to snip our wicks and light the torch.
Whoa!
Oh, fire.
All right, here you go.
Thank you. All right,
Exciting.
Time.
ready to light our giant candle?
Yeah.
So
Let's
ready.
do it.
Say hello to our fully lit Yankee Frankie, people.
This is pretty intense. Oh my God. It works, it's a candle.
Good wick placement, guys.
Thank you. Thank
you.
Yeah.
Thank
Very
you.
precise.
And now that we're on fire, I think it's about time for our official smell test. Now, right off the bat, I would say this thing didn't smell exactly how I anticipated going in. I think it smelled good, but there was a lot going on.
I feel like I'm drunk in a Michael's aisle.
Sorry, I just blacked back in. What the fuck is this?
I mean, when you look at the statistics for all of the scents in our mixture, you can see that in our 223 candles, there ended up being a total of 1,761 listed scent notes, which is a lot of different smells. Now, Yankee Candle does break up those scent notes into top notes or first impressions, mid notes or the body of the scent, and base notes or final impressions. So that's how we'll evaluate them as well. And of our 591 top notes, the most popular fragrances were citrus smells, like bergamot, orange, and lemon.
My impressions are something fruity. I think I smell orange, like maybe a dried orange or a sugared orange.
Which felt slightly random, but it turns out that nearly half of our candles had at least one citrus note somewhere. So they really sneak their way in, even in candles you wouldn't expect. Besides that, our other popular top notes were either spicy smells like cinnamon, nutmeg, and clove, and a dash of floral and berry scents as well.
I'm definitely picking up like spiced sangria, which is hitting on a few of the things you mentioned.
Now, kind of a surprise from our 604 mid notes was that floral scents like rose, jasmine, and lavender overwhelmingly took first place.
It also smells a little bit like roses.
I'm getting that.
Yeah.
And amazingly, the floral scents do kind of poke through, even if they are very faint.
That would be the first floral scent to ever come through in a franken candle. So that would be very, I do smell a slight vibe, a faint ghost of a rose.
I'm attributing at least some of that to the heavyweight, fresh-cut roses. Rounding out our mid-notes were then some more spicy scents as well as woody smells, like cedarwood, sandalwood, and pine, which were then backed up by more woody and musky scents in the base notes.
Something like almost like those jazz club, like manly type scents, you know?
But what really dominated the base notes was sweets.
Something vanilla, something sweet is in there.
A hint.
As sweet scents like vanilla, amber, and sugar were by far the biggest category, though thankfully there was none of that chocolate cake or maple pancake smell to be found.
I got some flakes in my nose.
Too much?
They went in.
We went too far?
I sniffed too vigorously.
We are now snorting the candle. We have arrived at snorting.
So to summarize, it's a citrusy, spicy, floral berry, floral, spicy, woody, sweet, woody, musky smell, which sounds kind of crazy, but it is kind of accurate.
I think it's good.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad smell.
Yes.
I don't hate it,
I don't mind
despite
it at all.
being surrounded by it for hours, days.
But even though we were worried that we potentially could have had some unreliable nostrils at this point, even Yankee experts Tori and Megan from the Yankee Candle store at the Crabtree Mall
Oh, am I gonna be shocked by it?
Oh.
thought this thing smelled pretty good.
Oh, that's lovely. That's really nice.
And I think we were all a little surprised that fruity or baked goody notes didn't dominate the scent,
It's not as fruity as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, I don't
Pick up any fruit, which is shocking.
and that it was instead really pleasantly layered, woody, and musky.
Definitely a wood.
Yeah.
Like a sandalwood.
I'm getting the woody, I'm getting the earthy, and I think a lot of that comes from how heavy patchouli comes across as a note.
Yeah.
So maybe our hard work trying not to burn off the scents really paid off.
I would buy this.
Yeah.
If I found it in a store, I would buy this.
Sean would be like, we need this at home.
Yeah, my mom would love this.
And with their stamp of approval, I think we can be pretty pleased with our final product here. At 4 feet tall with nearly 2,000 scent notes, it's gotta be the yankiest damn candle there ever was. And not to compare it to its nemesis, the franken-candle Senior, but there's truly almost no comparison.
The candle you have, the candle she tells you not to worry about.
Thanks to Tori and Megan at Yankee Candle for all of their help, including helping us recycle our many Yankee Candle jars, and a big thanks to Evan and Katelyn for all of their hard work.
I enjoyed myself. We went to Walmart and matching shirts. That's all I need, really.
Yeah, that was a great time.
And though we will be keeping the jumbo candle at our place, don't worry, we didn't send them home empty-handed. And if you also don't want to be empty-handed and are interested in winning one of these tiny franken candles,
Make sure you're subscribed, leave a comment down below, and fill out the Google form in the description.
and don't worry, it's not just for Yankees.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked that video, make sure to shamash that like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to shamash that subscribe button. Here are our short form / social media handles.
And once again, make sure to check out our YouTubes.
And with that, I will see you guys next time.